Look who's back from vacation.
It's been a minute.
I actually don't know who's back from vacation because I could
dude.
barely recognize you.
Yeah, I went with it. You know, I don't like shaving on vacation. That's part of vacation. You know, the razor does not come out. And so I just started letting this grow.
Dire Straits over here.
And it felt right because I was in Colorado.
Yeah.
So the Rockies and
you were on that Rocky Mountain high.
in the mountains.
I'm surprised you're not in like a flannel shirt or something like that.
I know, right? I should have worn flannel, but I said, okay, I'm going to neaten it up because my hair's real thin and it didn't look very good unless I neatened it up a bit. So I'm going to test drive a goatee for a little while.
And if you're ever going to buy a motorcycle, I think now's the time to do it.
Now's the time. I can't. I have too much fear. I like a pedal bike, but I don't like motorcycles.
How does your wife like the goatee?
Okay, so that's going to be the final verdict. She hasn't given me the yay or the nay.
So it's just been.
I asked you, my great viewers, followers, and everybody, overwhelming, resounding, go with it. Try it out.
Because you had it for a little bit in like the mid 2000s.
Exactly.
You've got some archive pics
Long time
of it.
ago, a No Shave November, you know, and it was a month that I did it.
You were telling me you got a Ronald Reagan comparison the other day.
I did.
Somebody was like, "Wow, you look a lot like Ronald Reagan."
Like a young Ronald Reagan. What a great compliment.
I mean, he was a really well liked, he's about as presidential as it gets.
Ronald Reagan once said, I would not even loosen my tie in this office. That's what kind of respect he held for the presidency. And I always remember that. He wouldn't even loosen his tie when he was in that room.
The mayoral election just passed over. I mean, you could have thrown your hat in the ring.
I didn't even think about it.
If you run, I think you get at least 500 votes. I mean,
500, easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
People know you.
Right, exactly.
I mean, it was like 30 people running originally.
Might not take that much more to actually win it.
Because you FaceTime me. You FaceTime me from your bike. You were on a long bike ride.
I had to show you
in Colorado. Yeah, it was beautiful, man.
It's amazing how gorgeous. The temperatures, mid 30s in the morning, upper 50s in the afternoons. We were in Breckenridge where it's so dry in those mountains that 35 was like, really? It felt like 55. It just didn't feel that cold.
A good summer family vacation.
So good time.
Because I was back here in the studio, and when you and I don't see each other for a week, that's a long time. We spend a lot of time together, and it's a noticeable.
Good friends. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't know you had this on video. Really?
Oh yeah, this is. I hadn't seen you in a week.
That's when you saw the goatee,
yes.
And there it is, the bro moment. The bro moment.
And then I think I had to duck out because you had to go do the forecast.
Yeah, I was getting ready. We were
That's like every day, though. I mean, we're usually back there messing around. Yeah, there it is.
There it is.
I was meaning business.
You know, here's the thing. A vacation is so important.
I was going to get to it. Yeah, it's great for the head. Great to, get a good space going. I mean, it's a total reset, man. You feel that right now?
Absolutely. Rested, and family time's important, away from everything that we're involved with. And I think it's a like I say, it's good for the mind, but it's good for the soul. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, someone who knows a lot about this.
I'm excited for this one.
Eileen Suarez, Coach Sultant. This is a real pleasure. Eileen, welcome to Raining Threes.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
This is so cool. And wouldn't you agree? I mean, we all need to unplug from what we're doing.
Yes. And what you said about it's like rewiring your mind. And that's what it's about. It's having growth mindset, having that space away so that you can really reflect. And it just really helps. It's so good for the body and the mind.
I gotta get me one of those, man. I need a vacation.
You need to
I got one coming up.
Things.
I'm going back home to Chicago here in a few weeks. Good. But there is that notion to be said where, even last Friday, like I was just kind of at my desk, and it'd been a really long week, and I had to take a nap between my 6 and 10 p.m. newscast because I was so. I was just, and I'd slept like 9-10 hours the night before, which is a lot, and I still was exhausted the entire next day, and I feel like I was just sort of fogged up. So I feel like a life coach right now it's coming at an appropriate time for us here.
Well, I'm here for you whenever you need it.
So that's awesome. Yeah, we met when you came in. We have a mentorship program with John Jay High School, and you presented to these teenagers. Did you see them grasp what you do?
Yes, I absolutely do every single time. So we did some strengths coaching, and we did a strengths finder workshop. And these children, that's what they need. They need to be reinforced, what their strengths are. And I walked away from that experience, going home and telling my husband, wow, they were so engaged.
I want to rewind a little bit. I don't even know. What is a life coach?
Yeah. So a life
When people ask you what you do, what do you tell them?
Well, so what I do is a little bit different than your traditional life coach. I do coach consulting, and I'm going to explain what that is. So a coach, what they're doing is they're coaching you to uncover like the answers yourself through powerful questions and reflection. But what differentiates me is I also think that people are looking for consulting. They want some expert guidance and strategies and techniques that can allow them to have lasting change in their life. So I go beyond the traditional approach of coaching. Coaching is, again, asking powerful questions. If you tell me, hey, I'm stuck, I'm going to take you from unstuck to unstoppable. And that's what I do. And so there's like 65 to 75% of people, anywhere from 2 out of 3 say that they are stuck.
You know, Nate mentioned, I need this now. How do you know you need it?
Well, and that's a good question. The good thing is you have self-awareness that you need it. Like, I just want to say, not everybody thinks they need help. And I'll give an example, my husband, right? So
You're trying to convince him he needs help.
well, hey.
Again, I'd like to clarify, it's not like I'm not calling for help myself.
Yes.
No,
but
very happy. I'll see you tonight at 6 and 10.
yes. But let me say, so what I mean by this is, and hey, I think a lot of guys do this. So I'm speaking probably a lot of people's language right now. But you buy something at the store that you got to put together, you got to assemble it, right? Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, do you actually use the instructions, or do you just, I got it, I'll
No,
figure it out?
I have to use instructions.
Okay.
I'm not good at seeing and I follow them to a T.
Well, good. So you're the minority. You might be the exception, because most people will say, I can do this. I know how to build. I've done this with other things. Well, my husband, for instance, I'll hear him. He's all frustrated. And I go to the garage to see what he's working on. And he's like, can't figure this out. And I'm like, where's the instructions? Oh, I can do it on my own. And this just goes to show not everybody likes to ask for help. Not everybody thinks they need help. And it can be something as simple as that, but coaching people to say, hey, like, are you having challenges in your life? And so if you feel at any point you are stuck in your career, in your life, you just have a really negative mindset, what a coach does is they help you by asking powerful questions to overcome limiting beliefs. If you also are having challenges, you have procrastination, or you feel like you're stuck in a career that you've been in, like myself, I was in a career for 22 years and I enjoyed it, but then I changed that after a while. So that's what a coach does. And truly everybody needs a coach.
And this is something new. I mean, I don't remember this being a thing, say 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. And then all of a sudden you start hearing about life coaching and people, and I'm like, well, I have a life. I live my life. You know, but it's a good kind of checkup on how are you living your life?
Yes. And a lot of people, there's a lot of mental health issues too. And there's differences between coaches, consultants, therapists, but a lot of people just need help. Just like the instructions I was talking about to build something, people need instructions for their life. And not everybody wants to ask for that help. But when you get involved with a coach, it really, truly can transform your life and your lives. And that's something that I do every day. Is I'm very passionate about helping people create that change that they want. And it's like one conversation at a time. I'm transforming lives for people. Like it starts off with something they think they have an issue with. And then through self-reflection, deep self-awareness, you end up finding out there's more to your story.
You just brought up a point that I want to touch on again, but the difference between a therapist and a life coach, obviously, because there's a stigma of mental health and people going to ask for it. Therapy is an outlet for so many people. I've got friends who've utilized that, but differentiating a therapist between what you do.
Yeah. So a therapist is very different because they are asking powerful questions, but a therapist is getting that deep self-awareness. They're also getting to the root of the problem. But then through therapy can also come medications too, right? And someone, for instance, I actually had a client who their therapist told them they had anxiety and started trying to kind of diagnose with depression. And the parent of this child that I was coaching is like, I don't want her on meds. So instead, she hired me to be the coach. And it has been great because she doesn't have the anxiety. I was able to find the root cause of it had to do with overwhelming of being in college. And I provided her strategies and techniques. We tried different things that worked for her, and we found those things that worked, and she is seeing transformation in her life. And that's what a life coach does is you may not need therapy. Sometimes people automatically, something's wrong with me. I need therapy. I need meds. But you can do life coaching and maybe avoid getting into some of that. Plus, it builds huge amount of confidence when you get life coaching.
Confidence is paramount. I
Yes.
mean, with 3 daughters, and I know, how old is your son?
13.
So 13, right?
Yes.
Confidence is so important
Yes.
for an adolescent.
Yes. And, Bill, I've mentioned this before, but children, let's talk about girls and boys. So girls and boys at the age of 8 have about the same amount of confidence, okay? But by the age of 13, girls' confidence drops by 30%. And I actually started my business because I'm like, wow, if I would have known this when I was younger, it wouldn't have taken me decades to like build the confidence that I have today. But we can stop that decline from happening before it even starts if you start at an early age. And the coaching that I do starts as early as 5 years old.
I love seeing you with these girls and now some young ladies at a real estate office.
Yes.
That's a real estate team. This becomes, again, something that if you can start with these young ladies, you had empowerment camps
Yes.
over this summer.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I partnered with Spoil Me Kids Spa, and it's a beautiful place. It has a spa, and we actually had an amazing workshop. We had a whole bunch of girls. We had a total of 15, various ages, 5 to, I think the oldest was like 15 years old. And what we do is we do a whole bunch of different activities, and it's like affirmations, positive affirmations. I am all about having a positive mindset, and growth mindset is huge. So I have to help these young girls realize their worth and be able to raise their hand, advocate for themselves, and just have this like amount of confidence that makes them unstoppable. Because with social media and just, bullying, all this stuff that's happening today, these girls need the confidence. And it's been so empowering for not just me, it's so fulfilling, but these children, they're being inspired at a young age. They're seeing what their worth is. And most of all, they're identifying their strengths. We do like mirror talk. I did that when I was young and I still remember it. And so I use it in my workshops, but they're basically looking in a mirror that they get to decorate. And they're saying, I'm bold, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I can do anything I put my mind to. And these girls end up coming back a year later telling me they still have their mirrors and they're still using them. And, I was on the show, Great Day SA, not that long ago, and we had one of the young girls come in and she was telling her story and talking about how she's going to be a Michelin chef. And
on
do you remember that?
television.
Yes.
And she's on camera.
She's on camera.
That's huge.
And that just goes to show, can you imagine an 8-year-old coming on a show and knowing that everybody's watching them? And it was a demonstration of how this one workshop built her confidence. She was not shy at all.
That's so cool.
It was amazing. And that's what I want to see. That is what I'm trying to do, is coach children to a brighter future. And most of all, just build the confidence and the fundamentals of how they can be successful in life going forward.
Is there such a thing, do you think, as being too confident?
Yes, absolutely. Right. Because you can come across as cocky, too confident.
Right.
And sometimes people...
I think about that a lot. Especially in our industry too, right? We are on TV every single night. We have an audience every single night, right? And one of my fears, I guess, in that is I don't want to come across when I meet somebody like I'm full of myself, right? Like,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
spotlight's all on me.
Because that's already assumed.
It's already
by the
assumed.
way.
It's already assumed.
Yeah.
And we're out there, in makeup and our suits, and a lot of times we're having a ton of fun, but I really try to pride myself, and I think about it, I struggle with it. I really want to make sure that I'm the same person off camera that I am on camera. Authenticity, I think, is a big thing
huge.
for you and me.
Big time.
But so overconfidence too, you're back to that.
Yeah. And I was going to say, a lot of people are compensating sometimes also. And so coming across overly confident can come out fake as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hear that a lot from people, and it's just having that balance. And that can be something if someone's like, I feel like I come across too confident, and I don't want it to be perceived a certain way. That's where coaching can come in. I can say, okay, well, let's talk about how we can still show your confidence and that you're an expert in what you're talking about, but not coming off too confident.
This might sound like an odd question, but where does the life coaching occur? Do you go to their work? Do you go to their home? Do you go to a neutral site? How does that play a role?
So most life coaches don't have an actual brick and mortar, right, that they do this at. So I partner with local businesses, right? And so like the spa I mentioned, I invite kids to the spa and we have an event there. I even do, you'll see in some of the images on my website, I do some of them at my home too. I do a lot of Sunday fun days with families, and I'll bring brothers and sisters together because that is also important. How do you recognize and appreciate the strengths of your brothers and sisters to get things done together and to just really like improve the family dynamics? And so I do them at my house. I do a lot of workshops with adults. They're called strengths team workshops. And I do them at businesses, or I may also go to like nonprofits. I go to nonprofits. I do a lot of calls over the phone, and I'm very big about giving back to the community. And the military, my family, my dad was in the Air Force. And so I give back to the military by coaching through like American corporate partners. And so I'm also helping a lot of transitioning military to find ways that they can work through this confidence issues. You know, they're coming out of the military. It's very different to get into corporate, right?
Oh, yeah.
Huge. And that's what we're helping with. Some people don't even know, how does my skills translate? What kind of role is best for me? And so I do strengths coaching. Everything I do starts with the foundation of knowing your strengths, because if you know your strengths, you are able to accomplish anything. Strengths is truly what is your natural talents? How do you invest and continue to improve on it? And that is what a strength is. Continually practicing and using your strengths, you truly can have near perfect performance every single time. And that's what builds confidence.
And that's how you reach full potential, right? I saw a
Exactly.
little ad for this energy and focus gum on like Instagram. And I think I hit on, so now I'm seeing it on my, feed like every day now. Anyway, one of the things that this person communicated was a lot of us are not reaching our full potential. Like a lot of us are sitting right around 60% of what can be a lot better life if we just focus and have a way to, because there's never been more distractions.
Yeah,
right.
That is absolutely right. And, coaching, this is where people just need awareness. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be on here today, because I truly want to inspire, motivate, and empower people to ask for help. And, I'm here to help. I like to differentiate myself, and that's why I'm a coach consultant, because I do a lot of extra education. I have various certifications like in brain coaching, and that's how I differentiate myself, because it's not just about using this knowledge that I've built over the years of how to live your best life. It's truly the science behind how the brain is working and how do you overcome limiting beliefs? How do you change your mindset? There's so much that is involved in coaching, and it's really just using this. Like, ask yourself right now, all of you viewers that are on, ask yourself, what is the biggest challenge in your life that you want to get unstuck? And again, a coach will ask you all the right questions, very powerful questions, self-awareness. And then what I do is I also come in and I provide strategies, different techniques that are proven to work to allow people to move forward in their life and have sustainable change.
I'm going to get pretty deep on this, but since every person is individualistic, right? We all have a brain. How much do you analyze what's going on in the brain, where it's from a human, anatomy standpoint versus looking at an individual's past experiences? Because everybody comes from different backgrounds. People might not know, like there could be traumatic experiences in one's past. There could be problems in one's home life that are prohibiting them from doing something. Maybe
Yes.
how do you differentiate between the anatomy aspect and the personal experience aspect?
Yeah. So it is all personal experience, right? That is the main part of it. Having the knowledge about like the prefrontal cortex and like all the things that are happening in the brain, it just helps have the conversation, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm so different. And, why is this happening to me? But honestly, we are all wired the same. It's the way that we live our life and the choices that we make. And sometimes we don't make, it just happens to us. But this is where the coach will come in. They'll ask you these deep questions. And, a lot of times people are stuck for different reasons, and it all stems from childhood. Most of it. Most of it's, my parents, when I was younger, they forced me to do a sport. They didn't make me focus on my strengths. They're telling me, here's your opportunities. You need to focus on these. When a child focuses on something they're not good at, it's going to lower their confidence. And we always say you can do anything you put your mind to, but sometimes stuff just doesn't come natural. It's harder for people. It takes more time and effort. And so what I teach people is you got to focus on what's right and strong versus right and wrong. And this is a whole shift. We all grew up being told what we should be doing better. And so the big thing here is I get deep into questions and I'm asking them, well, why do you feel that way? And did someone tell you when you were younger that you couldn't do this? And they're like, yeah, my parents always said I wasn't going to like amount to anything, right? And so those people are going to need a lot of extra support and help so that they can get through getting rid of that voice in their head. And that's where brain coaching comes in, because I teach them, how do you change that mindset? How do you name that voice in your head that's stopping you?
Right.
And how do you just get rid of it? And it's a lot of self-talk. You're like seriously talking to this voice in your head saying, I'm not going to listen to you. I can do anything.
I love what's right and strong rather than what's
right and wrong.
Right and wrong.
Yes. And I teach this every time that I do strengths coaching, because that's truly the shift. And Don Clifton, he's the one that invented StrengthsFinder. And that is where he is changing the world. Like 34 million people have done StrengthsFinder. And one of my top strengths is responsibility. I find it to be my responsibility to share awareness about why life coaching is important, but not only that, why it's important to know your strengths. So I'm trying to get everybody to do strengths coaching because it truly changed my own life. It's how I changed my whole career after 22 years in insurance.
What happens inside of like personal relationships when you find these strengths? Like, you said you've been married now 19 years, I think, right?
Yes, 19 years.
You're a mom.
Yep.
So what happens within the dynamic of the relationship if like, well, his strengths are this and mine are this and or, you know what I mean? Like, does that ever...
Oh, well, it happens everywhere. It happens in corporate America too, right? And we don't want everybody to be just like us. We want to be unique in our own way. And so it's great that my husband doesn't have the same strengths as me or my son, because I am able to leverage them to help me get through whatever I need to. And we work together. And just like teams, it's like cohesive. The team works together. They figure out who has a certain strength that's missing. Like, who are the influencers on the team? Let's bring them into a project. Or who are the strategic thinkers? And so just like any relationship, you and your spouse, it's like opposites attract, You hear that?
Totally.
It is totally the same with strengths as well. So you do not want to have the exact same strengths. You need the collective strengths of the whole family to really improve those dynamics.
When you go about working with clients, I'm just going to use us as an example, but Bill and I are 20 years apart. We've got from different backgrounds.
We don't look it though, right?
No, not at all. Wait, who's younger?
Thank you, Eileen. That's awesome.
It'd take me about a week and a half to work with what you got going on right there. But no, I mean, we are. But so does that change your approach in working with a client like Bill and I? Would you approach us differently in terms of working with us?
Well, I think everybody has their unique backgrounds, right? And so in general, building confidence, there is like a set of things you can do, right? And so, but what I do is I do tailor. Everything I do is not a one size fits all. So meeting with you,
only tailor. You only work with tailors.
Only tailors. Yeah.
But we do like basically a discovery call, right? And I'm going to ask you like, what's going on? What would you like to improve? And honestly, a lot of people are like, I just need help and I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's my job. And that's what, like with my expertise, just hearing you talk for a few minutes, I honestly can be like, I think I know what the thing is, because I've coached so many people over like a period of time that you start seeing trends. And this is where, when you talk about brain coaching, we are all wired the same. However, again, it's our life experiences that change us. And so my goal is to help people get back to the life that they want to live. And so back to your question, it truly does vary, but there is going to be some of the same techniques and strategies that I'll use to help both of you. So
speaking of which, I think you did plan on having a little sesh with us.
Yeah.
I'm excited for
Let's
this.
do it.
This is really cool.
Okay, this is going to be lots of fun.
Okay,
But what I want to ask first, before we get started, is I don't know exactly what each of your strengths are. We haven't done StrengthsFinder, which I hope we do sometime soon. But who would consider themselves competitive? Do you think that's a strength of you?
100% competitive.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay. So I brought the right activity because this is going to be a competitive activity. In front of you,
Good luck.
you have your
That's what I'm gonna
whiteboard.
say.
So
We got a whiteboard.
I'm competing
Thank you.
against Bill.
yes.
That's what I'm saying. Good luck.
Okay, viewers, who do you think's going to win?
Come on, everybody.
I don't know what the game is.
Okay. So what I'm going to have you do, it's going to be a writing challenge.
Okay.
Okay. And whoever finishes first wins and can call yourself the winner.
The winner.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'm going to have you do, you might want to hold your board horizontal. Yeah,
okay.
there you go. So what you're going to do, I'm going to tell you in a moment to write as fast as you can. I use my strengths every day. Okay.
Those words.
Okay. When I tell you to go, you're going to write, I use my strengths every day.
Cool.
Okay. When I say ready, set, go. So let's make sure we're starting at the same point. So raise your hand.
Okay.
And when I say ready, set, go, you're going to write, I use my strengths every day. Ready, set, hold on, don't start. Actually, put that pen in your opposite hand, your non-dominant hand.
Oh, man. All right.
All right, listen to what they're saying. I want you to reflect on what's happening right now, okay, why we do this. But I am going to ask you, whoever finishes first, right, I use my strengths every day. Ready, set, go.
Oh, wow.
Not done yet?
No.
I use my strengths every day.
Oh. This might not be legible.
Only once. You only have to write it once. Okay.
It's relatively low.
All right, Nate. Okay, can we show it? Are you able to get that on the camera?
Yeah.
Like, you can't even read it. Okay, great. All right, Bill, let's see Bill's.
All right. I may have written this in Latin.
All right. Hey. Okay, it took you a little bit longer, right?
Yes, it
But,
did.
I mean, how did that feel?
Awkward?
Very awkward.
Weird?
It took a lot of time?
Yes.
It did not feel like your natural talent, did it?
Not at all.
Okay.
Right. Wow.
So this is truly to show you the power of strengths. So right now what I'm going to do, you're not done.
Okay.
Switch it to the other side.
To the other side.
And I want you to write the same thing, but with your dominant hand.
Oh, with our, okay.
Yes. And anybody can do this at home. That's why I wanted to share this exercise.
Yeah.
Because this is not only a fun activity for a family, but it really shows why it's important to know your strengths. So I'm going to have you do it one more time. Ready?
Oh, shoot.
Set, go. I use my strengths every day. Okay, now Bill is finished first. And look at that. Much more legible.
Yeah.
All right.
My handwriting just straight up sucks. So there's no difference.
Well,
with me.
you can't fix that.
So you're printing. I went a little cursive when I did it in my dominant hand. I was trying to do it. Which way were you going?
I was going right-handed.
Well, you were printing and not cursive.
Yeah, I was cursive is not really. I don't really do that.
See, because they don't even teach cursive
gives-
anymore, right?
Bill gives a lot of
In school?
autographs around town, and he's used to it.
Hey, by the way, I got to talk about autographs real quick. So my son, he, being a coach consultant and being a coach, you're probably wondering what is it like being at the house?
Right? Yeah. Mom, enough, Mom. Or you're right. Like,
yeah. Well, actually, my family, my husband, so amazing. My son, so amazing. My son is who inspired me to start my business, actually. And what is interesting is my husband, again, remember, he doesn't like to ask for help or get directions, but indirectly, he loves hearing about what's going on with my coaching business. So I'm talking to him about what I'm helping clients with, not the client themselves, because that's confidential, but just sharing ideas with him. And it helps him. It helps him grow. It helps him have a positive mindset. My son, on the other hand, he loves it. When I do these things at my house, the workshops at the house, he comes down, he's like, Mom, you sounded so good. That's so awesome. I love how you're helping all these kids and adults even. And he just loves it. And when he gets in trouble, what do you think he tells me? He says, Mom, maybe we should do some of those coaching sessions. Can I? And then he asked me if he can get on my calendar. Of course, he's joking. He really kind of makes... It's like he's making fun of it, but he truly wants it. He loves being coached. And the reason I was inspired to start this business, I just want to share real quick, is when I learned what my strengths were, when I got certified to be a strengths coach, I was like, wow, this would be amazing if they had this for kids. And I'm thinking I'm coming up with some new invention, right? I'm going to do some strengths assessment for kids, but they actually had one. And the moment the instructor told me they had a book for kids, I went and I ordered it. I did it with my son, and it told my son, based on his strengths that were performer and competitive, that he should be like an entrepreneur when he grows up.
Really?
No joke. The very next day, he comes home and says, Mom, I started a business. And I was like, well, you're at school. Would you start a business? Well, remember when Prime got so popular, you couldn't even get them at the store?
The drink?
Those drinks?
Yeah.
Well, my son was selling it for a profit at school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Genius.
And to this day, he just had a lemonade stand this weekend. Someone asked him, "Can I donate $5? I don't want to buy anything." And
Perfect.
the guy said, what are you trying to do? And he's like, "I'm going to open my own business. I'm going to have Dubai chocolate." Like, he makes Dubai chocolate bars. That's the new craze. He's like thinking, what do people want? And I'm going to provide it. I think he gets that from me. I'm like, I've always been an
This is
entrepreneurial
great,
spirit.
though. Yeah.
But it truly works. And my son has that confidence all the time to be able to do those things. So what I want to tell you real quick, my son, he saw when you called the other day, he saw your name, Bill Taylor, Ken's 5. And when we got off the phone, I was about to get out of the car and he's like mouth drop. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Mom, I never thought I would see that." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "A famous person called you."
Oh, man, whatever.
And then he asked if he was if you're on the walk, right? The Walk of Fame.
Oh, the Walk of Fame with my star?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so I told
Wow.
him, "I'm going to get your
Yes.
autograph."
No.
So later on, give me the
I'll sign-
autograph.
okay.
Bill Taylor,
absolutely.
Bill Taylor outside the Chinese theater.
Yes. But
That's so awesome.
it's so exciting. You know, I'm really fulfilled by everything I do, and I'm really transforming lives one conversation at a time. And it's amazing because it's not just kids. You can build confidence in adults. Doesn't matter how old you are. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs support and needs that thought partner to help them through.
If you have a new day, you have a new opportunity to grow.
Yes.
And in so
Love
many
it.
ways, carpe diem, right? I mean, seize that day, seize the moment. And there's someone, I hope, watching, because again, in an information age where I think a lot of people are trying to understand and hold more information than they're capable of.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yes.
mean, between phones and television and radio and every which way,
It's overwhelming.
we're not equipped to hold this much information.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of mental health issues are coming out of.
You know, I love that you're saying that because that is what coaching is about. A coach is very confidential. If you told me anything, I am never going to tell anybody that you told me unless you're like trying to hurt yourself or somebody else. And so the great thing about that is you can go to a confidential person and just let your whole life out. And you may not know what the problem is deep within, but the coach will be able to find that for you. And that's what I'm here for. And if anybody's listening and needs some help, I would love to help you. You can go to my website, www.eileensuarezcoachsulting.com, or call me, 210-386-9899. I would love to help any viewer who feels stuck. You don't know what it is, I'll help you find it.
There it is.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Yes.
You got to
Eileen,
ask
thank
for
you
the
so
help.
much for joining us here
Yes,
today.
thank
I mean,
you.
This
This
has
is
been
so awesome.
Yeah, just a,
Such an honor to be here.
And make sure you take a break too.
I will.
And make sure you go on vacation.
I am. You hear that? You hear that, babe? Take me on a vacation.
Eileen Suarez, Coach Sultan.
nothing's
Thank you
getting
so
more.
much.
Yes.
Nothing's good. You've got the empowerment going right here.
Right?
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
that's it.
Yeah,
You know what?
keep
I'm
that
just
going.
doing it. What did you get? That's good stuff, man.
All right. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me.